Welcome to this evening's meeting of the Taft City Council Successor Agency Joint Meeting. As a courtesy to all, please silence your cell phones. Officers on duty, you needn't silence the things that you have to do your job. We respect that and appreciate the fact that you do it. So whatever is necessary. We're going to begin this evening's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Josh Bryant, followed by the invocation from Scott Pearson of the First Baptist Church. Should we join us, please?
All please rise, put your hand over your heart, and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for this fair city in which we live. We thank you for people who serve as our law enforcement and for those who serve as city council members and for all who work here as well and give us a great quality of life. God, we pray for your wisdom for our council members tonight. May they consider things. May they know what the right decisions to make are. Lead them, guide them, we pray. God, we are always thankful for your mercy, for your grace, for your love. We could not live without you. You give us life. You give us breath. For that, we're grateful. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Praise Christ!
Mr. Mayor,
Sir.
the walls aren't going to fall down tonight.
No, they are not. Welcome to the safest place in the county. First item on this evening's agenda is, I'm sorry. May we have roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Mayor Knorr.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hill.
Here.
Councilmember Bryant.
Here.
Councilmember Cryer.
Here.
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
First item on the agenda is certificate of commendation for Les Clark Jr. I had asked that Councilman Miller read that commendation, please.
Oh, he's in the house. City of Taft, State of California, certificate of commendation presented to Les Clark Jr. upon his retirement after nearly 4 decades as the face of the Kern County oil industry. Whereas Les Clark has been a resident of Taft most of his life, attending schools in the area until completing his education at Fresno State University, where he received a BA in education. And whereas his basic knowledge of the oil industry started from part-time employment with Atlantic Richfield and Petroleum while attending school, thus helping him to subsequently garner employment with Bell Ridge Oil Company and Shell Oil Company. And whereas he went on to serve as vice president of the Independent Oil Producers Agency, IOPA, from 1980 to 1999, at which time he assumed the position of the executive vice president, which he maintained until his retirement in December 2017. Whereas Les' retirement brings with it an end of an era with IOPA, also calling it a wrap and simultaneously closing its doors. And whereas he also served the community as a member of many boards, including the City of Taft and Taft Union High School Boards of Trustees, Taft Chamber of Commerce, West Kern Oil Museum, the Fort Preservation Society, and the Westside District Hospital Foundation, just to name a few. And whereas Les has also been the recipient of many well-deserved awards over the years, including the California Independent Oil Producers Agency, the Bradley Woodward Award, and the Desk and Derrick 1994 Oil Man of the Year. And whereas Les and his wife, June, have been married for 51 years, they have 2 daughters, 1 son, 10 grandchildren, and 1 great-granddaughter. Now, therefore, the City of Taft Council recognizes Les Clark for his dedication to the oil industry and involvement in the community of Taft, and wishes him continued success upon his retirement and all his future endeavors. Dated the 6th day of February 2018, signed by Mayor Dave Moore and the rest of the council members. Les Clark.
Please, Les.
some cheapy little paper certificate, the city of Taft. We have a real wall hanger here, so I think we expect that to
Could be.
be done in a place of honor
You betcha.
in your house or your home.
You betcha.
As a former mayor of Taft, I want to congratulate the current mayor of Ford City and
Unofficial.
wish you well.
Unofficial. Thank you very much. Just to, it's my great honor to go ahead and sit down, everybody. It's my great honor to receive this award, and I sincerely mean that. When you're appreciated by your peers, that's very important. And all of you know me, you still give me an award. That's a good thing, you know. So, but again, thank you very much, and it will go up in a place of respect for you all. And I'd also like to say to the incoming chief, congratulations. And I always like to be around police officers. It's who we need to support, and we'll continue to do that. So thank you also for being here, and we're going to miss our chief. So thanks again.
Thank you very much, Les. Congratulations. All right, next item on the agenda is a certificate of commendation for the outgoing, recently retired Chief Ed Whiting. I'm gonna have to put these glasses on because in an effort to cut down on overhead, we use smaller fonts, so we use less ink. It's not because my eyes are getting old. City of Taft, State of California, certificate of commendation presented to Ed Whiting on the occasion of his retirement and recipient of the 2017 Kern Cog Richard A. Maxwell Regional Award of Merit, public official. Whereas Ed Whiting began his career in law enforcement over 35 years ago after proudly serving his country in the United States Air Force as a member of the Security Police. And whereas he started his service with the City of Taft Police Department over 32 years ago, being named Officer of the Year in 1988, and worked his way up through the ranks, obtaining senior officer status in 1989, police sergeant in 1990, lieutenant in 2008, and then his current rank as chief of police in 2012. And whereas during most of his early years with the city, he served as the narcotics investigator for the department, developing an expertise in narcotics investigation that allowed him to serve the local courts as a certified narcotics expert. And whereas Whiting serves on the Kern Chiefs Council, Office of Emergency Services, and the Street Interdiction Team for the county, holds a seat on the West Tech Board of Directors, and is a member of the Kiwanis Club in Taft. And whereas he was instrumental in forming the City of Taft Police Department's close working relationship with the Kern County Sheriff's Department back in the 1980s, that is still in existence today. And now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Taft, on behalf of the citizens of Taft and all city employees, hereby recognizes Ed Whiting as a dedicated and valued employee of the City of Taft Police Department and extends their best wishes for many future years in which to enjoy his retirement. And furthermore, the Taft City Council takes great pleasure in congratulating Chief Ed Whiting for receiving the 2017 Kern Council of Governments Richard A. Maxwell Regional Award of Merit for a public official. Signed, dated this 6th day of March, signed by myself and all 4 other members of the City Council. Chief, if you would please. Be a habit of yours in your few days of retirement collecting all these awards, isn't it? Congratulations. Thank you very, very much for all you've done for the people of the City of Taft. Sorry. You may address the council if you wish.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, a lot of people talk about receiving that gold watch at the end of their retirement. What I received from from all my years in the city of Taft is far more valuable. The camaraderie, the fellowship, the experience, and the support of the council, the police officers here tonight, all of city staff, is much more valuable than any watch could ever be. And I just want to say thank you for all those years.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is going to be the swearing in of the new police chief, Eamon McMinn.
Staff police officers, Lieutenant Hood.
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, David McMinn,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and to the Constitution of the State of California,
that I will fully and faithfully perform
and I will fully, faithfully perform
the duties of the City of Taft,
the duties of the City of Taft.
that I take this obligation freely
I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and I will well, faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I'm about to enter. Thank you.
Tell me if this hurts real bad.
I'm not going to say a word.
See here.
You see blood, I'm good.
All right.
That's why we get lucky.
There's got to be a trick to this. I'm not done yet. Don't give it up. I'm getting close. I can see this. Oh man, I'm kidding you.
Of course, he left his glasses up here, but
I did.
And the font's so small.
Here you go, sir. Welcome aboard.
And I'm good.
You don't want to address everybody just yet?
I appreciate the council bringing me on board, and the mayor, the city manager, and the citizens of Taft. And I will definitely make improvements where needed. There's probably not too many. I did a great job. I appreciate him bringing me on, and I look forward to the future.
Very good. You're part of the team. Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
If I may, Damon's father, former chief of police, Ken McMinn, is in the audience. Ken, if you would step up so we can just once again thank you for all of your service. We're going to take just a bit of a break so everybody can have an opportunity to congratulate the outgoing chief and the incoming chief and take a few pictures. So we will get back to our regularly scheduled program in about 10 minutes. Okay. We're going to go back into regular session, please. Next item on the agenda, item number 4, public hearing transit Sunday service. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. City of Taft staff is working to close its transit budget shortfalls, eliminating unproductive services and redeploying resources to routes where greater ride demand is necessary to maintain quality of service. On average, the Sunday service gives about 30 rides. It is the system's least productive service. As a result, Sunday service is proposed to be eliminated. It's been about a year since staff ended a fixed route service in an effort to increase the fare box ratio. Our current average monthly fare box ratio is about at 8% average, which is very close to 10%. So we're hoping this elimination of this service will help us achieve the 10% fare box ratio.
All right, thank you very much. Recommendation is to conduct a public hearing. At this time, I will open that public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on behalf of this item, please step forward. Anybody wishing to speak against this item, please step forward. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. At this time, I entertain a motion to hold another public hearing, March the 20th, 2018, and consider approval of the elimination of the Taft Area Transit Sunday service effective April the 1st, 2018.
Motion. Second.
A motion and a second. Mayor Pro Tem, you made the motion?
I think it would be sad for those people who probably could use that service. However, they obviously aren't using it enough. So I think we have to look at what's best for our budget. I was sad to see that nobody came out to discuss it, so obviously it's not that important to people.
Councilman Bryan.
You know what, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would believe that the ARC, or the folks who are the clients there, along with the folks who are the clients at the TIL program at Taft College, are probably the most consistent users on those days. So I would ask that we maybe do some outreach, and I believe the city manager said we would, and maybe find a way to encourage Dr. Daniels, who's here with us for the college, to maybe look at ways to mitigate that on their end to serve their students, maybe as an alternative revenue source for the college. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman Miller?
10% is 10%, and we're supposed to meet that goal, and if we don't, we're going to lose the funding, and the city of Taft cannot afford to run a transit system on its own. So unless we can figure out some ways to get money to come in. So.
Yes, sir. Councilman Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. The funding comes mainly from CONCOG, gets the funding from there, and if we don't meet the 10% fare, we lose the funding for the whole system. So it's just not going to, it's easy to lose money, is that our whole program is at risk from our funding from CONCOG, and what do we need to do to protect the bigger part of it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let the record show that there were public meetings held and outreach took place, and nobody showed up to speak on behalf or against this issue. So the staff was there, but nobody else showed up. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things, like I say, we have to close that gap. It's either 10% or it's gone.
That's same true for the Kern Regional Transit whenever they have unmet transit needs. I've been to a couple of those meetings where I was the only person that showed up, so they have the same issues.
People have to speak up. It's your government. It's your government. We're elected to help manage things, and we're just lowly elected representatives, just like you. It's your government. You have to be a part of it. All right. At this time, I have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hill,
Yes.
and Mayor Noor.
Yes. Now pass on a 5-0 vote. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda, item number 5, public hearing, zoning ordinance amendment number 2018-03, medical and adult use cannabis regulation and safety minor amendment. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. Attached is an ordinance with minor amendments in various chapters and sections of the zoning ordinance. The amendments include deletions, revisions, some definitions, license types, terminology to be consistent with those in the emergency regulations. There's a summary listed below the amendments attached to resolutions in Chapter 4, 5, 6, 7, and Section 645 and 61231 of Title 6 zoning regulations of the Taft Municipal Code.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, if I could briefly make a statement. Staff has reviewed the proposed ordinance, and it was found that there was a typographical error on the front page. Not a particularly important matter, but where it says whereas, there are several whereases. It's the 5th whereas down. States, whereas the city desires to reduce the illegal market, et cetera, et cetera. That comes from a prior proposal, that language, and should have been left off this one. So what we would be looking for this evening is a motion as it appears on the agenda, but with the addition that the fifth whereas on the first page of the proposed ordinance be stricken from the ordinance.
All right, thank you very much. Does everybody understand what City Attorney is saying?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that clarification. All right, the recommendation is to conduct a public hearing, so I will open said public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak in support of or opposition of this item, please step forward. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve and amend the City of Taft Municipal Code entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Taft Approving Zoning Ordinance Amendment Number 2018-03, a minor amendment to Chapters 4, 5, 6, 7, and Sections 645 and 61231 of Title 6 Zoning Regulations of the Taft Municipal Code, revising license types, terminology, definitions, descriptions, and enforcement to be consistent with emergency regulations published by the Bureau of Cannabis Control, with all commercial cannabis activity prohibited in the City of Taft, for the first reading by title only, and reading of such be waived.
Motion.
I have a motion.
And then also that the
Oh.
fifth whereas on page 1 be stricken
For the
or
record.
deleted.
A motion amended, still motion.
So we have a motion
And a second.
and a second. Councilman Bryant, you made the motion. Any discussion?
No further comments, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem,
No discussion.
Councilman Miller.
This goes to show the state wasn't prepared. This is trailing in stuff that's coming in on the stuff that we had to vote on before December 31st. So it's cleanup stuff that we're doing, even though we are prohibiting cannabis in the City of Taft.
Yes, sir.
No comment.
No comment. I would mirror what Councilman Miller said. The legislators, the lawmakers, all of those who had plenty of time to prepare this, we did a little bit of research ourselves, and we knew this was going to happen. And in point of fact, there will be more. I dare say it will come before the Planning Commission again. Mr. Staples and the Planning Commissioners will have to address it again, and it'll be back here before the council again. So at this time, I have a motion and a second. May I have roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hill,
Yes.
and Mayor Noor.
Yes, thank you very much. That passes on a 5-0 vote. Next item on the agenda, item number 6, citizen request public comments. This is the time and place for the general public to address the city council on matters within its jurisdiction. State law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. Council may receive comment and set the matter for a subsequent meeting. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. We have Maddie Jordan and Yahara Sanchez. Yahira. I am so sorry. I'll tell the world I actually went back there and asked her because I did not want to do that to you. So Yahira Sanchez.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies, please give your name and address for the record.
I'm Madison Jordan, and this is Yahira Sanchez, and we would like to speak about the new transportation building to use it for our prom on April 28th.
I'm going to have to stop you just a second. Part of the rules is, for the record, we have to have your address. You have to just tell me where you live.
I'm vice president in our junior class of 2019.
Your home address.
Wait, oh really? Oh.
Okay. Okay, very good. Now then, we're ready to proceed. Okay, please.
Okay, so on April 28th, we will be hosting our 2018 prom in the new transportation building. We were really excited to use this place because it's a new place, and for prom it's a big event, and so we like to have somewhere new that nobody else has really used before. And being that it's right next to the oil monument, it's nice to have it because that represents like our town and our high school. And our theme would be Derricks and Diamonds, so like it would correspond as a good backdrop to it.
So we talked to a representative and the price was quoted at $1,000. We would like to ask for a reduction because our budget for it is not as high as we wanted it to be. So we were asking if we could have a price reduction. And so we would provide our own security, our own cleanups, And one of the justifications for the cost was that you didn't want to compete with other venues. So Taft has limited venues for prom, and we wouldn't want to repeat ourselves, and we were really excited for this venue because it's brand new and no one has used it before, and it's unique, and it also corresponds to our theme.
Okay. Well, we can take that under advisement. We'll let the city manager, Jones, comment on that.
My comment would be if you guys could write a letter to me asking for consideration of the fees to be waived for the rental. I will point out that there will still be a requirement for insurance. I'm sure the school can work that out, name the city of Taft insured, but it would go on a future agenda request for the city council to consider either a fee waiver or a reduction in fees.
If you'll get that out, we can vote on it on the 20th.
Okay. Thank you for your time and consideration.
It's not agendized tonight, so they can't take action on it, but I don't see anybody shaking their head no. So.
We look forward to hearing from you. I will say that I believe in some of your notes there was reference to the Oil Academy program.
Oh, yes. Fred Holmes would be involved because he is like the main person in Oil Tech, so we'll be getting like our decorations from him, and he's like a big part of the Oil Academy and has really helped our high school.
Pretty good character support, I would have to say.
Yes.
You know, there are a lot of people involved in this community who take a great deal of pride in that. I happen to be a mentor in that program, as a matter of fact, and a big believer in it. So thank you very much for coming before the council, and please follow up as requested by the city manager, and we'll look forward to seeing you all again.
Okay. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for your time.
All right, thank you.
Good job, guys.
Next up would be Dr. Kathy Oren.
Well, before I start with the good evening, excuse me. Before I launch into the usual calendar review, I would like to make a suggestion with reference to the transit situation on Sunday. By the way, I saw Transit Sunday service, and I thought we were going to have Sunday services at the Transit Center. I thought, wow, I must have fallen asleep somewhere.
Well, if that'll increase ridership, I'm sure it would be considered.
There you go. I would suggest that perhaps a letter to the West Side Christian Ministers Association, letting them know, and I know this is possibly irritating because you obviously have already announced the situation and we saw the response, but rather than people arranging rides, it seems to me that the people that may need the ride to church could be assisted by the churches they attend. And if the churches knew perhaps what was going on, they might be more cognizant of finding out who needs a ride and providing it. It's just the other way around to solve the problem. I will let the leadership of the WCMA know that, but just a suggestion. Now, on to what's happening in our town with regards to the chamber. We are going to be having, excuse me, a State of the City luncheon on the 5th of April. That's a Thursday, and this is like, I think, the 7th or 8th State of the City. Our theme this year is Build It and They Will Come. So we are going to be talking about the building that is going on in our community, and we've invited speakers, our city manager, of course. Dr. Deb Daniels from the college will be giving us an update on the building program there. We'll be finding out from Mr. Colson what's going on with his building, and I knew as soon as I started talking, I would forget. There's one more. Okay, it didn't come to me. All right. My apologies. There's another building going on.
He said, psst.
Well, the city manager is going to speak.
Maybe. I have a subpoena that day.
All right. You guys are now making me nuts. All right. I'm going to
Would
move
the mayor
forward.
be a speaker?
That is entirely possible. I didn't announce it because I don't have his permission to announce it at this moment. So, but thank you all for making me feel unprepared. The next thing I want to announce is May 5th, which is the car show that will be happening on the Rails to Trails. It is a traditional Rails to Trails car show presented by the Chamber, and we're looking forward to many cars and vendors being there. We will have some activities on Center Street the night before because that will be a good time to get downtown, and there hopefully will be people arriving early for the car show to, as we used to say, drag center. But we're hoping to have a huge representation for that. So that's all I have to give you right now. I still don't remember the next thing, and so I'm going to sit down.
I believe Councilman Cryer wanted to make. Didn't you ask a comment?
No, but I'll tell you what, I will. I'd just like to thank the Chamber for a great job they keep on doing. It always impressed me all the time. I just like to, there's always something to do in Taft. I mean, you just can't go without a weekend. There's something going on. And I can't make them sometimes because it's too many for myself to make them. I'd just like to make a suggestion. Is there a way we can bring some events where we can bring some new money from outside the area, or maybe explore what other chambers are doing for their biggest fundraiser? I know they do during the year, but their biggest fundraiser that may have a food event of some sort or some other event to bring other people out of the other areas so they can use our motels and eateries and this and that in our town to bring some new money in this town to circulate it, and that'd be a big boost. Something new and something exciting.
Well, that's obviously our goal as the Chamber, because we don't believe people can enjoy our town until they get here. And that's why we do car shows and things of that nature, so that people have to travel here to enjoy the amenities here. So I agree with you that that's what we're all about. That's what we try to do. We are always looking for suggestions, and I appreciate any that you have, and we'll always look into that.
The Chamber's always been dear to my heart. I've been part of it for 13 years, and it thrills me what we can do in our town to bring people in here to, and even Councilman Randy Miller, what he did on the board, bringing people as your home, and people come here and see Taft. You got such a beautiful Rail to Trails, a monument, a clean city, low crime. Let's get people here to look at, and hopefully they'll come and stay, but we'll be sure to use their money. We're going to your green stuff and even stay here and part with it. But it's tough, and the economy is tough here. And anytime a business can make an extra $100 in a day in their revenue, makes a huge difference in making their payroll, or their electric bill, or insurance, and it all adds up. And but that's a tough job for you, for the Chamber, to keep up on that.
Well, it's interesting. Our 4th of July celebration, which will be on the 4th of July this year, was always intended for our community. Mm-hmm. And that is becoming one of the biggest draws, because we have spectacular fireworks, and our community raises the money. That's not something that anyone helps us with. It's community raising the money, and people are beginning to understand that. So we have huge amounts of people coming into our town for the 4th of July celebration, whenever it is, the Independence Day celebration, whenever it is.
And we have the most incredible venue as well.
Oh, we do. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And this has given me time to remember the other people that I'd forgotten, and that was the healthcare district, who was going to be embarking on a huge building program, and they will be represented at the State of the City also. I'm so glad I remembered that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kathy. Next up, wanting to address the council, is Ron Oren.
Well, the last couple of times I've been here, I've spoken to you.
Name and address.
Oh, my name, Ron Oren, address 105 East Lucard here in Taft. And I've spoken to you in the past about a couple items that are near and dear to me, and I have a few more at this time. I'd like to kind of plant a seed for you to start thinking about. One is that we have, I believe, a need that we structure an ordinance that will regulate camping, so that camping will occur only in a designated campground rather than the public areas that people perceive as open green space for them to use. That's item one. Next one I would like us to consider is formal action regarding street vendors. On the weekends when you're around the community, you may see fellas and women riding on tricycle type bikes, vending all kinds of fresh fruit, prepared in some manner, someplace. And the last Sunday, I asked one of the gentlemen that was selling the stuff, I said, well, do you have a license from the city to do that? He says, yes, I do. And I said, and do you have your health certificate also for a safe food handling? Yes, I do. I said, I believe that that's supposed to be present if you're out vending in this manner. And he then scurried to his vehicle, which was parked over by St. Mary's, got in it, and left town because he had none of those. It's a public health issue is what I'm saying. And we, the people in this room and the rest of the community, need to be cognizant that it's a health issue. I don't want to take a fruit that is in some way contaminated and give it to my kids and give them any sort of disease or discomfort. The other one is with respect to permit fees. I recently purchased a permit for a simple room addition here in town, and when we got done, I was taken aback at the permit issuance fee. I buy permits over in Bakersfield on a somewhat regular basis, and just the issuance fee here is $111. And I think that precludes people from getting permits when they should come down and get a permit, because that's a little high. Bakersfield permit fees have a graduated scale, and they start at around $15. And if somebody's putting a water heater in, it's to our advantage to have that water heater inspected. We have competent people in planning and in our building department, and what they have seen in Bakersfield is that when people don't get the permit, it's not inspected, and sometimes earthquake straps are not installed. Other times, gas lines are improperly installed, and they were attributing about 4 house fires per week in the city of Bakersfield to faulty water heater installations. And at $111, most people aren't going to buy them. But they do need to get an inspection for it. It's the same premise I spoke with you about the roofs that were replaced, and the consequence is it's substandard for the current codes because they didn't get a permit because God knows why. Some people just don't like the thought of we meddling in their lives. But it's really there to protect the general public. So I'd encourage you to look at them. Street vendors, I won't go into the telephone people up on 10th and A, but they are in the city, and I don't know why they're still there. The permit issue and then the camping ordinance is what I would like to see addressed. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you very much for bringing that before the council.
You're on the planning commission for the city of Taft. That's where all this starts.
I want to make you aware that that is where it is starting, and it will start there at our next meeting.
It kind of come off of it starts up here. It doesn't start up here. It starts at the planning commission with our planning director.
But we have the planning director and the city attorney both here.
Yeah, okay.
And now you're aware.
All right. Thank you very much for making us aware.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda, item number 7, council statements, non-action. I'm going to begin with Mayor Pro Tem this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. It was very nice to see all the men in blue. Welcome for our new chief. It was sad to see our old chief go out. I want to go back and address when we had our homeless conversation here a couple weeks ago. One of the things that came to my attention as I continued to read about this was a true difference in what a homeless person is. We actually are not addressing the homeless issue. We are addressing the vagrancy issue. By definition, a homeless person is a person lacking a home. Even a person who lives in a shelter with supervision is still considered to be a homeless person. Most of us really do not have issue with that and are more likely to want to help that person. There are many homeless people who have jobs, who are going to school, who are trying to improve their lives. This is by definition, this is not what we're talking about. Vagrancy, however, when I started really looking at this word, vagrancy in Webster's dictionary is considered the crime of. The crime of vagrancy is the wandering about without employment or any identifiable means of support. Idle, refuses to work, although capable, lives on the charity of others. This is the person that I'm talking about. And when we had two different groups of people here the other day, and they were discussing, helping people, I don't think they were discussing the same people. So as we proceed with these conversations, I'm hoping that we can make better definition as to what we are looking at is vagrancy. Mr. Oren, when he was talking the other day about that, that is the person we're having a problem with. I also wanted to read to you, Mr. Miller did a beautiful article the other day in one of the comments on Facebook, which was actually a very interesting one. This person stated that one day I decided to ask a transient why he is in Taft, how he got here, how he heard of Taft, where is he from. It was an interesting conversation to say the least. He was nice and had no issue with me asking. He said he walked here from Bakersfield. He likes it in Taft and will stay here because the cops don't bother him. He said no one bothers them. He said when he's hungry, thirsty, or wants shelter, he knows where to go and how to find it in Taft. He also said that he can go to the Albertsons parking lot and ask 10 people for money, and 5 of those 10 people will give it to him. So I asked him what he spends the money on. He said booze. He also said that he's made a lot of friends and with other transients, and they stick together. He doesn't mind living that way. He does this because he doesn't want to be tied down, and he doesn't have to answer to anybody. I asked him if he ever steals anything from people in the community. Of course, he wouldn't answer that. It's interesting, though. I think that when we have these discussions, we really need to separate homelessness and vagrancy. And I just kind of wanted to add on to that from our last meeting because I have numerous things I want to talk about for future agenda items.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Councilman Bryant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would say a wholehearted ditto to that. It's very important, I believe, in second to what you said, to make the distinction between a homeless person and a vagrant. And I have no doubt in the efforts of our city staff, current and in the future in that regard. I think I made my point very well clear last time we spoke, so I won't spend a whole lot of time on that. To the folks who were here tonight, we are honored, or who we did honor. I wanted to congratulate Les. I saw him on the way out, but as a fellow Fresno State Bulldog, I want to say congratulations to everyone who's out there and in his honor. Somebody who supported the industry, that supported this town for 100 plus years. Someone who's been out there and worked tirelessly on behalf of the industry. And so I think it's very, very fitting that we provide him that honor tonight. So to Les, congratulations and go Dogs. As the former Chief Whiting left here tonight, he had a lot of folks congratulating him, and I didn't get a chance to speak to him for long. But personally, I've never known a Taft Police Department without Ed Whiting. So a little bit of new, uncharted territory for me. But again, I have no doubt in the future of the department being in good hands. And in that regard, Damon, I would like to say congratulations. Welcome to the team. And for me personally, as a member of this council and as a member of the community and your volunteer unit, you have my wholehearted support. If you need me to supplement you guys in any way, shape, or form, you got my number, you reach out, and I'll do everything I can to support you guys. And that goes for your entire department down and any other law enforcement agency in this area. So thank you, welcome, good luck. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to congratulate our new chief, McMahon, and I'm sure we'll get to know each other real well. And the council here, you'll find out we're very giving as far as need anything. We'll make sure you get it. And Ed Whiting did miracles on the computer acquiring things. I hope he taught you a few things on that, how to do everything. Because he saved a lot of money, and we got a lot of good equipment that we can use either now or later. We can use it. But you have a big job ahead of you because we are a safe town. So safe that little things come in our minds are big things. because we don't have any big issues, but they're just small things that irritates things, and it becomes a problem, you know. But we do have a safety zone. We've got a few things to work at, and I know you're all aware of it. And you have a good force behind you. You have great officers. They're working, and they give their all. You know, they don't get. I wish we can do more for them, but they do so much for our city, and they give a lot, and they risk their lives to make our town a better town to live. And so I just want to thank you again for stepping up the plate and coming our chief, and thanking Ed Whiting for finding you. I think you're going to do great. The other thing I want to say is that about 3 or 4 years ago, I think what Ron Warren was saying about the costs and stuff, it came to our council to vote on, where our cost for fees and stuff for the hot water heaters, for the stove, for all the different things, for permitting stuff were so low that we had to raise it up a little bit. Because we had that about 3 or 4 years ago. That's why that cost is higher. We're cheaper than in Bakersfield, and we're getting our costs back for what we had here. But we can always come up for review again. But I know that came up for discussion. We did vote on it, and through the planning commission on the costs and stuff. So it might be time for us to review it again. But I haven't had to put hot water heater in yet. So when I do, I'll pay the $100 or $100, whatever it is, you know, because I'll make sure it's done safely. Another thing too is, you know, we have a lot of good things here in Taft. You know, I'm going to brag a little bit because I'm part of it. The community garden. We can get a big bed of dirt, get for $40 for a whole year. You get free fertilizer, all the water, and get some stuff that goes along with it, and grow your own vegetables, organically or commercially. But so cheap. You got all these different seasons. You get your spring season for your crops for the summer, getting ready for the fall, and the winter crops. You can grow 3 different crops to 4 different crops in a year. We have probably about 20 beds available, you know, and for people to use. And a bigger part of it too, we need some board members. We only have like 4 or 5 board members. We can use another 3 or 4 more, especially some young folks out there come out there and be part of it. We recently got the high school involved, culinary class, and they're taking up a couple of beds to grow food for their culinary class. And but we do need volunteers, and we need board members. So anybody would like to step up to the plate and would like to become a board member, I'll give you my phone number. I can get it over on here, no problem. I have no issue. That'd be 809-4634. I'll be happy to meet with you and get you rolling on become a board member on the community garden here in Taft. And you know what?
Yes.
I think I'm done.
Are you done? Very good then. Well, Councilman Miller, it would be your turn.
Well, thank you. All I want to do is try to remind people to be positive. We all live here in Taft. I'm reminding people that even live out in Valley Acres and Dustin Acres. That's 93268. That's Taft. It's not Valley Acres is not a separate. And Ford City, South Taft, Taft Heights. But the city of Taft, we're just a small portion of the west side, and there's only so much that the city of Taft can do to face the problem of the vagrant, the homeless, and the drug addicts. But we should not and shall not allow these people to define our city and who we are and what values we have, and the history that Taft has of 108 years. It's not going away. It's not drying up. We've got some new businesses coming in. We've got things that are happening. We've got a Taft College, and no other small community this size has a junior college as exemplary as this one that we have here. It's a shining jewel in this community. If Taft was dying, we wouldn't be having a college. So it's not. And I just want people, though we're having some issues with these folks, it's not just Taft. The rest of the county, the rest of the state, the rest of the cities are having the same kind of issues. It's just when it's here, it's personal. You know, when they come and dig in your trash can, it's personal. When they come and climb over your fence and steal something, it's personal. But it doesn't define the community. So I just want people to remain positive and stick together and work together, and we'll come to some solutions, you know. All of these vagrants, homeless, and drug addict folks and the drunks, they have rights too. And we cannot violate their rights. And so we've got to be careful what we do. So, you know, I don't want to be the only one out there drumming, beating the drum. I know these folks up here and our city staff are proud of the city and are willing to sit down with anybody and talk about the accomplishments that the city has and had over the past. And we're working through all of it, and we've got a wonderful community here. I know a lot of, I don't know everybody, but I know a lot of people, and the people that I know that live here are wonderful folks that are committed and live in the community, and they just don't sit here and reside and don't do anything. So all you people in this room, you're all wonderful people, and you're contributing to this community. So just remain positive. When somebody steals something from you, don't blame the city of Taft. And Taft, this Taft. It's not. It's that jerk that jumped over your fence and stole something. It's not everybody's fault. It's just the way it is. So just remain positive. That's all I can hope for as we look down the future, and as we have future meetings about this, is just to remain positive, and then we'll address these issues and we'll work through it all. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you very much. Speaking of positive, I want to thank Ms. Jordan and Ms. Sanchez for coming and seeing us this evening. I don't know if I can ask you, have either of you actually spent any time at the Transit Center? Have you been inside the Transit Center and checked it out? For those of you out there who have not, we're going to have our grand opening, kind of an open house. Get to know it, because after all, it is yours, people of the City of Taft. It is your facility. I'm very proud of the fact that you as a community didn't float a bond, you didn't raise taxes, you didn't do any of these standard government shell game, moving money around kind of stuff. You worked hard, you saved your money, and you paid cash. How about that? I mean, it's a novel concept in government, but that's what you, the people of the City of Taft, did. You own it. It's there for you. You can be very, very proud of it. On Thursday, March the 22nd at 4 p.m., there's going to be an open house. There'll be an opportunity for people to tour the facility and take a look at what is yours and what you can enjoy and what you can rent. It's going to enhance the venue that Dr. Orrin talked about, where we have our 4th of July. And if you're going to have a wedding or a class reunion or a conference and people are coming from out of town and they're going to stay at the new hotel downtown, it's within walkable distance of all the other restaurants and things in downtown Taft. So I'm very proud of it. It's very neat. I hope you are able to have your prom there. I know that you won't be disappointed in it. So once again, that is Thursday, March the 22nd at 4 p.m. Please come see it. We're very proud. A great deal of thought and effort and energy went into the architecture and the planning, and the devil's in the details, and there are some wonderful details to be had in that building. So look forward to seeing lots of you there, you two especially. I'm going to look for you. All right?
And if you're out cruising at night, drive by and look at the lit up clock.
I'll tell you what, the clock is beautiful.
It is.
The facility itself and the lighting and the fact that it represents a train depot is beautiful, and the monument is awe-inspiring. So I do, and it's sometimes I do it in the evenings. Other times, if I'm hurrying from one point to another and I only have time for a quick drive-through lunch, I grab that lunch and then I drive up and I either park or I sit at the table right there by the Oil Workers Monument and enjoy the view. It's a wonderful thing. So take advantage of it, Taft. It's yours, and you can be very proud of it, just like Councilman Miller said. It's your community. So that's all I have this evening. I want to close on a very positive note. Thanks again for coming, ladies. Next up, item number 8, department reports. No department reports? All right. None for the new chief. Actually, kind of new to this thing. All right. We'll look forward to it in the future, though. Thank you very much, Pete. City Manager statement. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to give thanks again to former Chief Whiting on his service to the community. We've worked together on a lot of issues, and I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with him. And he's not going anywhere. He lives here, so we'll be seeing him around, and it's nice to see. And I'd like to welcome our new chief, and he's got his feet on the ground and he's off and running. So he's been making our staff meetings and scratching his head and looking at us like, what are you guys up to? But no. Just like to welcome him. And then back to the transit issue for Sunday service. So very few people utilize that service that our personnel know those people. So the transit coordinator is going to try to talk to those people individually, because we do have a time period before that'll take effect. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to personally reach those people and explain why and give them information on alternate transportation means and things of that such. So we're trying, and like we said, we can't let the whole transit sink because of one-day service. And if you remember, 10 years or so ago, we started the Saturday service and the Sunday service because we had grant funding that was specific to that. It was called Reverse Commute. It was aimed at getting people to and from work, and on odd days when there's really no public transportation. And it just turned out there's not a need for it here, or people aren't utilizing it. So, and 10% fare box ratio, if you were running a business as a taxi and you're only getting 10 cents back on every dollar you invested, it would be a losing venture. That's all we're shooting for. It shouldn't be harder than it is. So, we have to keep that funding going to keep our transit functional, so that's what our goal is.
All right.
And I think that's all I have.
And we actually have not met that goal for the last 5 years, is that?
No, we've actually had some, Kern Cogs funded some studies for us, and we've gotten some professional advice, and we follow that advice, and none of it's panned out. The fixed route service that we ended was something that in larger cities cuts down on cost, because you're not running basically a dial ride, a curb-to-curb service, and TAF folks just don't want to go to the bus stop and wait on intervals of 10, 15 minutes.
And again, this is a Taft area transit, which includes the county metropolitan areas.
Includes the Ford City, Taft Heights, South Taft areas, and that is funded through funds from the county that pay for those services. And they are also tied to the same fare box ratio for their funding, so it's kind of, we keep track of city limits and the unincorporated areas, and they're both somewhere between 7 and 8% right now, which is better than it has been in the past.
All right, people, you heard it. Use it or lose it. Take advantage of it. So if you've got to have it on Saturdays and you got to have it on Sundays, then either come talk about it or get 2 of your friends to ride with you. So if each of you brought 2 of your friends every time, guess what? You can keep the service. We can get that fare box ratio to 10%. So your government, your service, your opportunity. Take advantage of it. All right. City attorney statements. Your Honor, I almost forgot. I beg your pardon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No statement tonight.
All right. Future agenda requests. I do believe, I remember the Mayor Pro Tem mentioning that she had
I do.
future agenda requests.
Well, based on Sacramento's all-knowing decisions, or I should say all-unknowing decisions, we have so many things we can't do. I would like, if possible, as city staff for our next meeting, if we could have a list of some of the city ordinances and county possibly too, to make sure they're kind of the same, on vagrancy, panhandling, loitering, trespassing, vandalizing, overnight camping, which was one of the things I was interested in, and maybe any other ordinances that we have that are related to our current problems, so that possibly we could review these and have a discussion about how they can be enforced. Because although these are small items, these small items might help us in some ways.
Okay. You have concurrence from another council member?
Yes, sir.
That would be
Yes, I
Councilman
concur.
Bryant would concur then. All right.
Because we want to come at you right away, okay?
Fair enough. All right. Do we have any other agenda requests?
I have a couple. I do have concerns on our CCF, MCCF, if you have any contract negotiations going on or anything, but maybe have a deal for Plan B just in case. And if we do get a contract, we still have Plan B to fall back on, or Plan C, or if may get a hold of maybe LA Sheriff Department, if our prison was having to be vacated, maybe they could use it, or we have some form of something to fall back on, instead of all of a sudden one day we don't have a prison no more. They pull them all out, and they're all in a panic and trying to scramble a little bit. Maybe have a little backup plans for our MTCF.
We can reach out to.
Is their contract up this year?
Yeah, the contract's up. We've gotten word from CDCR that it's being reviewed from their legal side and stuff, and it should be on its way. We've been assured, but we haven't had it physically in our hand.
When's the last day? When's the last day? June. Okay.
What would be the teardown time? I mean, I don't know if this is appropriate to ask, but if they were to let the contract lapse, what's our recourse, assuming there's nothing there?
Can we really discuss this?
Yeah,
I don't think so. Yeah.
They're all great questions, but I'm a little concerned because we're not actually agendized for it, and I think the request was that we agendize it for a future discussion.
And then,
thank you.
The next one is agenda. Maybe get some new chairs for us council members on the front.
They're only 25 years old.
I know, but they're going to transfer.
I feel like a judge sitting in this thing.
Yeah, they're well broken in. Maybe look at that on the request. And another question I'd have, the young ladies up here that would like to use our transit center. I was wondering, because they're in high school and their age and stuff, there's a way we can exempt where they live at. Maybe give like generic, like they go over in Taft High School or in the city of Taft, instead of giving their street address. Be kind of concerned and getting out there in the public or something for young folks.
Okay.
I was kind of worried because there's a lot of crazy people out there. It just makes me nervous, find out where they live.
All right.
That's my own personal concern there.
Now, did we get concurrence on? So you have 3 different requests.
Yes,
there, Councilman. Okay.
Plan B.
I got concurrence on nothing. Plan B for the MCCF. Is there concurrence?
I would concur to bring that to as like a workshop study session.
Study session.
Just to know what the status is and what our plan B is in case that option comes in.
Okay.
New chairs.
New chairs. Do you actually need an agenda item
We
for
haven't,
that?
we haven't budgeted because we were going to actually do more than that. We just haven't got around to it.
Okay, so we don't need that. That's budgeted, so that's something that's moving forward.
The third request is probably
Yeah, it doesn't have to be an
That'll be on
agenda
there.
request either.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. Councilman Miller.
I was noticing the carpeting in the main office in the entryway. I would like to see a proposal on replacing that, because that's when the public comes to the city hall and that's their first impression.
The overall plan for this room and the front offices and all was have it all recarpeted at the same time, the same carpet. But
Okay.
with the new
So we are looking
bidding
into it.
requirements and stuff, it's going to take someone to build a bid package and advertise it. It's a lot of work, and to be honest with you, we just kept putting on the back burner because other things have been a priority.
Okay. As long as we're looking toward.
All right, thank you very much. And so we don't need that on the agenda.
No.
Okay, very good then. That's that. Next up, consent calendar items 12 through 16. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the City Council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. Are there any items on the consent calendar that any member of the public would like to comment on? Seeing none. Those items are item number 12, which is the minutes of the February 20th regular meeting. Item number 13 would be the payment of bills, about $454,000 worth. Item number 14, authorization of sale of 619 Woodrow Street to Taft Union High School. The recommendation is a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft authorizing the sale of property located at 619 Woodrow Street, Taft, California, to Taft Union High School for $18,000 and authorizing the mayor, city manager, and/or assistant city manager to execute all escrow and other documents necessary to complete the sale of real property and making certain findings in connection therewith. Item 15, the unmet transit needs in the city of Taft. The recommendation is a motion to adopt a resolution entitled "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft Making Findings Regarding Unmet Transit Needs in the City of Taft." Item number 16, a special event permit and encroachment permit. Westside Little League 2018 opening ceremonies event and parade along Center Street on March 17th, 2018. The recommendation is a motion to approve a resolution entitled "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft approving a special event permit and encroachment permit, authorizing Westside Little League to hold an opening ceremonies event with a parade along Center Street, with Center Street to be blocked from 10th Street to 2nd Street and Main Street from 8th Street to 4th Street from 7 a.m. to 12 noon on March 17th, 2018. Okay, that's all of them. So, at this time, do any council members wish to remove any of these items from the consent calendar?
Go ahead. No, I don't. I might remind Councilman Bryant that as president of the Little League, he may not want to
He had
abstain
already
from the
mentioned
vote.
that.
Oh, okay.
Indeed. Indeed.
Thank you, Bill.
I would like to remove 16.
Item 16.
He can't speak. If he can't speak, I can.
Okay, remove item 16. Any others? Hearing none at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items 12, 13, 14, and 15.
Motion.
I have a motion?
Second.
And a second.
Finally,
Thank you.
I got one in.
Got one through.
Here we have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes, with an abstention on 14.
16.
and Mayor Nor.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hill. Yes. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right. It's not often I get to go before her, so I have no problem. Okay, that's approved on 5-0. Thank you very much. Item number 16, special event permit and encroachment permit. Westside Little League 2018 opening ceremonies event and parade along Center Street on March 17th, 2018. City Manager Jones.
I'm sorry, before Mr. Jones begins, I was just going to say, I believe Mr. Bryant's intention was to recuse himself.
Yes, sir. I was going to let him finish.
Is he going to have to
leave now.
leave the room?
He's actually going to exit the room
Okay, you're going to have to leave.
You got it.
while it's considered and voted on.
All right, thank you.
It wasn't pulling the statement.
Yeah, I've left the room many a time, buddy. It's your turn.
Hopefully you come back and address the council when we're done.
No, he's dropping.
Indeed. Councilman Cryer, you asked that this item be pulled.
Yes, I just want to commend, Councilman Josh Bryant, what he's doing being the president of the Westside Little League. It's baseball is American tradition. It goes back over 100 years, and it's what I grew up with. I was in, played Pee Wee, and I played Little League and all that when I was growing up. It instills, a lot of character in kids as they go through their ages and then through school. And to have the kids march in a parade through Taft and showing off. And when they're young, you get so impressionable. It's like they remember that for the rest of their lives. That moment they walk through town, and then after that have their little celebration and playing ball and having a great time. And I just want to commend the Westside Little League and Josh, what he's doing on that, and also the parents and the coaches and the umpires that volunteer for all that stuff. There's a lot of work. There's not one person, but there's many people involved to make it all happen. And I just want to just give kudos to all the people who make this all possible and make it all happen, and the young kids that are playing the sport. That's all I have to say.
All right. Any other comments regarding this item?
No.
I might say that that's one of those positive things in this community that I'm talking about. A whole bunch of wonderful volunteers. Nobody's benefiting from it other than try to find a good venue for our children to enjoy, and it's a great volunteer group, and that's well respected by Little Leagues in other communities of the Taft Little League. So it's one of those real positive things that this community has. Just wanted to remind you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve a resolution entitled Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft approving a special event permit and encroachment permit authorizing Westside Little League to hold an opening ceremonies event with a parade along Center Street, with Center Street to be blocked from 10th Street to 2nd Street and Main Street from 8th Street to 4th Street from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. on March 17th, 2018.
Motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hill,
Yes.
and Mayor Knorr.
Yes, and that passed on a 4-0 vote. Would somebody please let Councilman Bryant know that he can re-enter the chamber? Yeah.
Yeah, he's attacking the cookies right now.
I don't know, if we have gelato, he might have been back there.
Yeah. Should have been out the other door.
Mr. Mayor, if I might address the council from here as a member of the public instead of from my position on the council.
Concerning
Concerning the item just discussed. Is that
item
possible?
16. Is this proper?
Or would it be better to come back at a later time?
Would you mind bringing back?
Sure.
I think we should talk.
You got it.
You're right. There's probably no problem, but I think we should talk first. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Just, ladies and gentlemen, there are certain criteria that must be met regarding government, and if there's a question, then we rely on our attorney to make sure that we don't run afoul of any of those rules. We'd rather be cautious, so that is the reason for what we're doing. Okay, at this time, the City Council will go into closed session. For item A, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9A, Taft Union High School versus the City of Taft. And item B, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9A, BCV-17-100285. Thank you all for being a part of this evening's meeting.